everybody, I'm Cheryl Swift, Duchess of Rock and Roll. I'm here tonight in University City, Missouri at the Duck Room with the Delta Saints. Hey guys.
Hi.
How are you?
Great.
It's a very, very hot and muggy day here in St. Louis.
It is.
I don't know where y'all actually hail from, if this is hot to you or not.
It's pretty similar. Yeah.
It's warmer here than in Nashville.
Warm,
hot.
yes, definitely.
At least right now, like.
Yeah. Oh, yesterday was, whoo, but it's a little muggy today.
Yeah. We got
I'm
into
sure
bed and it was.
we were. Yeah, you were like, what are we doing here? And I was like, I'll try. We were talking earlier about doing the interview at the end of the show, and I was like, well, let's do it early so we're not glistening, and it's too late. We're still glistening at 7:30.
Yeah.
So, the Delta Saints, you guys live in Nashville.
Yes.
Been on tour for, wow, has it been?
10 years.
10 years?
I don't know. Something like that.
Just making this up as we go along. A long time. I was just reviewing my notes today, and I met you guys in January of 2014. We were on tour with one of my favorite
Blackberry
bands in the
Smoke.
world, Blackberry Smoke.
Yeah.
And since then, I mean, how many albums are you up to with the new one?
This is our third full-length studio record.
Okay.
So, but we have
two EPs before that.
2 EPs and 2 live records as well.
Yes.
So if you combine everything, that's 7 records. But
Yes.
It's a lot of records.
It's a lot of records, and I own all but one, which will be acquired here this evening.
All right.
And
we
I
have
got,
it on vinyl too.
ooh, it's
Yeah.
even better.
It's
I
special
got,
vinyl.
it is?
Yeah. It's special. The edition is a swirled smoke vinyl.
Oh, I'll be
It's
procuring that. I'll have cash in my purse. But I got to be there the night you did the live recording at Exit Inn.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was
That's
like,
fun.
was that 2 years ago?
It was longer than that.
2.5?
Just over 2 years, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
That night.
No, it was like 3. Because
Maybe 2015?
Vince has been in the band just over 2 years.
Just at 2 years now.
Yes.
But we did Ben was still in the band when we released live at Exit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, you're right.
So it's been like
3 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Time
Crazy.
flies.
How does that happen?
I know, I'm like, wait a minute, that was 10 minutes
Well, it's
ago.
because
Yeah,
we're on the
exactly.
road all the time.
Yeah.
And you guys, you've been touring in Europe. You're very well received in Europe, from what I can tell.
It's going
It's
well.
been going
Yes.
well, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're actually going back on Wednesday.
Are you really? Is this your last, or do you have a few more
We
days?
got one after this.
Okay.
We're home for a couple days and then we fly.
Go back
Wow.
on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Dylan's like, wait a minute, let me. Welcome. Here's the memo, honey.
It is
I'm not, I'm not faking
You're
that.
like, wait a minute, is that next Wednesday? Is it a week
I was
from?
like, I could have sworn it was Friday. That gives me 2 less days, so maybe.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
I'm glad we established that now on Wednesday.
This is what tour life is like.
Yeah.
What day is it? What city are we in? So you know when somebody yells out, "Thanks Detroit," and they're in Minneapolis. Now we all know.
I don't do that.
See, I follow bands every now and again. Last year we went 11 cities with the band, and I'm exhausted. I'm not up there leaving my soul on the stage, loading in and loading out.
But that's
What's-
also the filler up, you know what I mean? Like, while you might deplete yourself physically, that's the part of touring that, like, you get all the energy from, you know? That's like that's the richest moment of the whole thing.
For sure.
You know?
well,
also
well. Otherwise, why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you
Yeah,
do
right.
it? You'd be
Yeah.
lunatics.
Right. So everything is exhausting that surrounds touring. So physically, you get really tired, but then that little thing, that moment where you're leaving it out on stage, that's the moment that you're,
Right.
that's the whole point. So
Right.
you say that you didn't even do that part, but that's the part that fills you back up. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Well,
As-
for
as
me,
a player.
it's I'm not a player, but as a fan and lover of music, I also get that from the band. And I notice it's so funny when I'm really close with the band, I can sense their energy and
Yeah.
try to adjust myself. Like am I gonna be overexcited Cheryl or calm Cheryl, because I can show up as either one. And sometimes I have to be a bit of a chameleon.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I think it's interesting, like, especially watching the two of you, no offense to you, but there's something about your energy when you get on stage. Like, to me in real life, you're very calm and centered. I may be wrong, but when I see you in these moments, you're like, hey Cheryl, what's up?
Sure,
and Dave's
yeah.
like, what's up? And then you get up on stage, it's almost like, when you put it all together, it's almost a religious experience. Like you leave and go to a place.
Of course.
So as
it's
a
terror. just sheer
terror. It's sheer. That's adrenaline, Cheryl. That's
Yeah. Fight or flight.
You know, I just love it. You're one of the bands that I feel that, and I don't know as performers if you feel this. For me, the only time I'm really present in the world is when I'm not in my own head. And for a fan, that only happens for me when I'm lost in the presence of another.
Oh,
as
man.
in watching and being with the music, because I know your music.
Sure. That's
And then I'm present.
Yeah.
So it's more like a God experience for me, or a universal, however people want to look at it.
Spiritual.
Is it like that ever for you? Because you seem lost up there in it sometimes. What's that like for you?
Yeah, no, for the times when I screw up the worst are when I'm thinking about something else.
When you're not present to the
Correct, yeah, when it's just like, shit, did I lock the back door? Or did I I've got this coming up.
Oh, I forgot to return that text.
No, you'd be surprised, like the weird, especially when you're at when you play the song 1,000 times, it's muscle memory. And so you can totally, very easily, I can at least go to somewhere that's the opposite of where the song is and where you are in that moment. But that's generally when, for me, like I can get off the most.
Yes.
So yeah, no, like the best, for me at least, the best times are, when you can just, it's just being, you said it well, being very present, being very, just exactly where you are and enjoying that second.
Yes. You remind me of, and I don't know if you know this band, Jay Buchanan of
Oh, yeah,
the
Rival
Rival
Sons.
Sons.
That guy's a monster.
That man, I can't even put into words. And you remind me of him. Like when I see the two of you sing, it's like you become something that's
a functional adult, I hope.
functional adult. There it is.
That's high praise though. That guy's phenomenal. I mean, he's I don't know of really. There's probably a small handful of people who've ever been in rock and roll that can sing like that guy.
Oh, I don't even know how to. I haven't even figured out how to write about him because I'm so mesmerized by him and the band and what they're creating.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about you guys, but you're more bluesy. You know, you have a different sound and thing.
Mm-hmm.
No, not. It's like Coke and 7-Up, same but different.
Sure.
And I love getting lost in your music. It's just for me like.
Thank you.
And I always know it's you. Like I'm always like, oh. And Bella, my daughter's here recording today. She's like, can you please play the Delta Saints again? Like she's so into you, and I love that.
Sweet.
She loves it. You know, like, and it's just so good and pure. So anyway, tell us about the newest album,
The newest record,
which is not
New.
Italian.
Monta Vista.
Monta Vista.
It's called Monta Vista.
Monta Vista.
Chuck, you tell the story of the name of it.
All right. Well, it's kind of an homage to one of the places of our biggest inspiration, being Southern California, specifically staying at my grandmother's house there, which is like this awesome situation of. They moved there back in the 50s when La Jolla was just this little, unknown beach town.
I love La Jolla.
And they have this spot like very close to the beach, and it's magical. It's really pretty special, and a lot of people over the years have gotten to enjoy this house specifically. It's kind of one of those places with a revolving door. Families throughout the years have come and lived there, and with them, and with my side, that side of the family is big. 8 kids, and so it's a big family, and so our band, when we go out there, we stay there for as long as we can.
Lucky dogs.
Yes.
Aw.
Paradise.
And
I always say if God visits Earth, it's either La Jolla or Carmel.
It's pretty.
I mean, why would you not go to La Jolla?
It's pretty nice there, and it's become a little bit, expensive, and the overall vibe there is changed probably over the years, but I think the core of what we tap into when we go there is just that feeling of it's a home place in paradise, and
Yes.
so when we were beginning to write the record at least, we're in Nashville and it's wintertime and it's not nearly as much of a paradise, and so that the idea of Southern California, and specifically Nana's and my Nana and Pop-Up's house in La Jolla,
Yes.
that was a form of inspiration for us, and it wasn't like the centerpiece of the record, but then by the time we got to the end of the record, that was still the feeling that was there, and so we adopted that as a representation of the whole record. And while it was an inspiration, it also has a dual meaning too, because Monta Vista is a mountain view, and we've spent our entire career climbing and overcoming certain adversities and are still doing that. But now we have that mountain view where.
Is that all right if I snatch a little?
Yeah, you're all right.
Sorry, friends.
We're really live here.
I'll get out of your hair.
Oh, you're cool.
You're fine.
But
Climbing the mountain.
yeah, so we've gotten to this point where we've been working, but now we have come to a place in our career where we can see where we want to be. We can see the kind of the future of what this can be, and that is like being on the side of a mountain and looking out and finally having some perspective,
Yes.
So,
That's awesome.
It's got that dual meaning, but also Monta Vista Avenue is the road of the
Aww.
thing. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, some things can start out with, just a minor association and then develop an entire meaning around it.
Right.
It's
sure.
a growth, just like the recording process itself.
Definitely.
It develops as the name catches and sinks in and becomes that whole representation.
Yes. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, it's cool. We're proud of it, and it was a very live record. I think it's the best representation of this band as a live band because we recorded it live. Almost all the takes that you hear, all the tracks, those are live.
Those are always my
recorded as a
favorites.
band.
Always my
Yeah.
favorites. You
Yeah.
can feel that synergy
Exactly.
and energy
Yep.
coming through, and especially you guys. You work so well as a whole. I know there have been some changes to the band, and it seems that's all worked out for the good.
It's only gotten better.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
We've been lucky in that.
Yeah,
somehow.
it all ebbs and flows, and sometimes people are like, oh, I'm sad. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you know what? Life kind of goes that way.
Oh yeah. Well, it really. I mean, it's been, now that we can look back and there's 9 years or 10 years of perspective.
Right.
It is really interesting to watch. Be able to look back and see how this band has kind of moved just with life. Right. It's like my entire 20s that were in this band.
Right.
And
Marriages and girlfriends and people coming in and out, meeting your wife.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and your hair.
Yeah.
Do you miss your hair? That's such a girly question. Everybody talks about
It's
your
not even a
hair.
girly question. It's a
Is
question
it?
that I get often.
Oh, really? I was like, maybe I shouldn't ask about his
No,
hair.
well, it's just my like canned responses. People say, "I miss your hair," and all I can say is, "I don't." I don't miss
then
it.
you watch the glimmer of hope and fire.
And they're just like,
die in their eyes.
But it's so funny. It's almost to me like you were two people.
Yeah.
It was so dramatic that the first time you walked in, I was like, "Who's that guy?"
funniest thing-
I didn't know it was
So the funniest thing about this, as long as this band has been alive, I haven't worn shoes, and for the first
Oh, that's
8
right,
years of this
yes.
band, I've had dreadlocks. And the most common question I get once they see I cut my hair, they ask if I still don't wear shoes. They're like, "Well, do you wear shoes now?" I'm like, "No, I'm literally still the same human being. I just have different hair."
They thought you went to
Yeah, it's
some
like,
church
"Oh,
camp
you're
and
complete-
changed
You're a
your.
completely different human. You're playing keyboards now, right? Yeah.
My
This is
favorite
great.
is
You're a metal guy now, yeah?
Right?
Yeah.
You're
like
touring
you
with Guns N' Roses.
Right, exactly.
The people who think we got a new bass player.
That too.
Because
Oh, I bet people do ask that
the
question.
dreads were big, right? That was a very forward thing of your persona.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you're still 6'4".
Yep.
You still have the same face. You
Yep.
still don't wear shoes.
Different bass though.
Different bass.
Different bass.
Facial hair changes.
Facial
I
hair
wear glasses
changes.
sometimes. It's confusing.
But when I first saw you, I was like, that guy looks familiar, and then I
Yeah.
felt like a jerk. I was like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that?
I had I wouldn't say my close friends knew. I had decent friends that I would walk past in the store and they'd come back and be like, "Oh my god, I didn't realize it was you," right after it happened. So I mean, when you have a flag like that, that's the only thing you really
Right.
have to look for,
Right.
So you see
It's
it.
like their perspective on you is that.
Right, exactly.
Oh my
so,
God, that is
yeah,
so
no offense taken in any
funny.
of that. Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
I just have to say that having watched you guys, I guess it's been 3.5 years
Yeah.
since I've known you and watched your career.
Yeah.
I just love your music. I love how you are as a group. I love how you treat your fans. You know, not everybody. I think it's cool too that you were on tour early when I met you with Blackberry Smoke, because they're still as big as they are getting, being cool.
They're cool
They
guys.
can't have
Oh,
as
man.
much access given the volume.
Right.
But they're still
They're
cool
good
with
guys.
people.
Yeah, for sure.
And
And that's
I-
where they came from.
They do,
Yeah.
and I love it that you guys are like, hey, and, you know people's names, and you're humble, and you're talented, and that's really, for me, being in the business, important.
Yeah, I think they're just I just like, I think we've all had the experiences where you meet someone you really respect and they're a dick.
Yeah, that's the worst.
You get
And
big
like,
time,
man, no,
dude.
like I have zero patience for that. Like I'm not.
I'm now like one and out.
Yeah.
You don't get a second chance.
Yeah.
You don't get a second chance.
Yeah, because and you can, like, I don't know, this example can be spread all across the board, but you just you as an artist are so reliant upon people to buy your shit, to come to shows, to hopefully tell their friends. You know, so this idea that you can be arrogant, I've never quite understood. Like
Yeah, they're gonna start. So it is interesting though. I had someone in a band who's a nobody like 2 years ago blow me off. I said, oh honey, you just don't know
You
who
will
I
not
am.
go far.
Well, and I was like, and he was recently fired from the band. And I was like, you know, you cannot be a turd. Like, you haven't reached Elton John status. Not that Elton John's a turd. I'm just saying, you're not Elton John. You don't get to, you're in the opening band.
Well, and that whole
I mean, don't be mean to people.
that whole 70s rock star thing is kind of done. Like, rock and roll doesn't really do that anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't-
I've had
there's no room
major
for that.
stars not be
Yeah,
rude to me.
yeah.
Like,
There's not a lot of that
major.
anymore.
And so,
yeah.
Can I say something?
what?
Yep.
I wanted to say that I love the fact that you guys, me and my dad came to a show and she wasn't here. And usually when me and my dad aren't with her, people don't really know who we are. And you all said hello to me, hello to my dad. Like, you were so just like completely like, oh yeah, I know you. You're the girl with the mom. Like, but like you were so nice and just like you knew who we were. And I just thought that was really cool.
Nice.
Yes.
Real beer.
So, anyway, the really live here, people, they're getting ready to go on stage, so we're going to wrap this up. So, you can
Thank
check
you.
out the band at deltasaints.com. deltasaints.com. The new album is thedeltasaints.com.
It's a big the. Article is important
This
there.
is important.
Yep.
Thedeltasaints.com.
New album.
album, Monta Vista.
Jinx.
And we don't ever have any fun when we're all out together.
Nope.
I'm Cheryl Swift, the Duchess of Rock and Roll. We're here at Blueberry Hill at the Duck Room in the Loop in St. Louis. These are the Delta Saints, and we wish you all peace, love, and rock and roll.
Adios.